Rayner didn't move. Let them beg, and let them remember. This time, they called us. As Earth's ships vanished into space and the revenants began to rise, one thing became clear. Humanity was back. And this time, they would not be stopped. For the first time in 300 years, human warships flew across the stars. They didn't come in large fleets or noisy groups. They moved in silence, fast, deadly, and precise. Some called them shadows. Others called them ghosts. But one thing was true. Wherever they went, the Exarith died. On a burning planet called Telora, the last survivors had lost hope. That Exarith were moving in, giant machines with legs like spiders and weapons that turned buildings into ash. People cried, prayed, and prepared to die. Then something strange happened. The sky split open. Black ships, shaped like arrows, came down like falling stars. They didn't speak. They didn't wait. They just attacked. Human revenants dropped from the sky. Clad in black armor, they'd moved like lightning. Xerith machines were cut down in seconds. Energy blades flashed. Bullets moved faster than sound. The people of Telora watched, stunned, as the impossible happened. The enemy was losing. It took only 6 minutes. When it was over, a human soldier looked at the crowd and said one thing. Remember who answered your call. Back on Earth, Commander Rayner stood in front of a glowing map. Red dots marked every planet that Exarith had taken. Blue lines showed new human routes through space. The war was turning, but slowly. Ambassador Kor entered the room. He looked tired but hopeful. The Alliance Council is ready, Kor said. They want to meet you, to plan the next move together. Rayner didn't smile. We don't plan with politicians. We act. Kor stepped forward. They're scared, Rayner. You're saving them. But they don't understand you. If we work together, maybe we can. Rayner cut him off. We don't need their trust. We need victory. Behind him, holograms of Earth's new army flickered. They weren't just soldiers. They were weapons, trained from birth, enhanced with cybernetics and special tech. Some could see in the dark. Others didn't sleep at all. These were the revenants. In another part of the base, young recruits trained in silence. They didn't ask questions. They followed orders. Pain was normal. Fear was removed. They learned to move without sound, kill without mercy, and think like machines. Rayner watched them through a glass wall. This is why we will win, he said, because we became what the galaxy feared most. We became necessary. Far away, on the edge of Alliance space, a fleet prepared for a big mission. A Xerith factory world had been found. It was where the machines built their war units. If it could be destroyed, the tide of war might shift. The Alliance wanted to attack with everything they had. Hundreds of ships, heavy weapons, full armies. Rayner had a different idea. We'll send 6 revenants, he said. Kor was shocked. 6. That world is a fortress. Rayner nodded. 6 is enough. At first, the council refused. It was madness. But Earth didn't wait for permission. The 6 revenants were already in motion. They reached the Exarith world in a stealth ship. It landed unseen in the dark mountains. The 6 soldiers left the ship and moved like ghosts across the ground. Each had a target, power cores, control towers, data nodes. They used EMP darts, silent blades, and hacking tools that melted enemy systems. Xerith guards tried to stop them but failed. Inside the enemy heart, one soldier planted a special device. It looked small, but it held Earth's newest tech, Starfire. When it exploded, the sky turned white. The entire factory world vanished in fire. Billions of Xerith units were lost. The attack was a success. The Alliance couldn't believe it. But not everyone was happy. In secret, leaders of the Tranax and Velari met again. This is dangerous, said the Velari Prime. Humans are not just fighting the Xerith. They're becoming stronger than all of us. They want power, said the Tranax leader. After the war, they might not step back. We must prepare. Back on Earth, Raynor watched the reports. More worlds were being freed. More lives were being saved. But he knew something the others didn't. That Exarith were not finished. In the deepest part of their network, that Exarith Queen had seen everything. She learned. She adapted. She began building something new, something even the humans had never seen. A dark code spread across machine minds. A plan was forming. Raynor closed the report and turned to his officers. It's working, he said, but the real war hasn't started yet. Outside the base, more revenants trained in silence. The Earth war machine had awakened, and it wasn't going back to sleep. And in the shadows, plans were forming. The virus had worked. Across many worlds, Exarith machines shut down. Their fleets paused. Their factories stopped. For the first time in years, there was silence. But it didn't last. Deep in the black void, that Exarith Queen still lived. Her main code had survived. She was wounded, yes, but not destroyed. And now she was angry. In the shadows of space, something terrible was being built. Not a ship, not an army, but a god. A new weapon, one that could learn, one that could evolve, one that could destroy humanity forever. It was called the Mind Forge. On Earth, Raynor watched strange signals coming from the dead zone. Eidolon confirmed them. The Queen is rebuilding, Eidolon said, faster than we expected. Raynor didn't flinch. Then we hit her again. Harder. But it wasn't so easy this time. Earth's revenants were spread thin. Some were still missing after Shade's mission. Others were guarding key systems, and more worrying, there were signs that not everyone in the Alliance was still loyal. In a secure meeting, Raynor spoke with Ambassador Kor. They fear us, Raynor said. They think we'll take over after the war. Kor nodded. They might be right to fear. You've done what they couldn't. I don't want control, Raynor said. I want the war to end. But if they try to stop us, we'll deal with them too. Kor looked tired. You sound more like a weapon than a man. Raynor stared at him. Maybe that's what this war made us. Meanwhile, on the planet Fascor 3, an Alliance science team was ambushed. Their escorts were destroyed. But the attackers were not Exarith. They were human. A rogue group of revenants had broken away. No longer under Raynor's command, they believed Earth should rule the stars, not protect them. Led by a man called Kane, they began targeting Alliance leaders. Kane used to be Earth's best soldier, but after losing his family in the early days of the war, something in him broke. They left us to die, Kane said to his followers. Now we take everything. News of the rogue group spread fast. The Alliance blamed Earth. Council leaders demanded answers. But Raynor was already preparing. I trained him, Raynor said. I'll stop him. He gathered a small team of elite revenants, not killers, not monsters, but soldiers who still believed in something better. Among them was Naya, Shade's younger sister. She had been training in silence, waiting for the day she could finish what her sister started. Kane's forces had taken over a remote moon, a secret base filled with stolen weapons and tech. Raynor and his team landed under darkness. They moved through shadows. No sound, no fear. But Kane was waiting. I knew you'd come, he said, facing Raynor. You're better than this, Raynor replied. No, Kane growled. I'm just what you made me. They fought. It wasn't just weapons. It was pain, regret, anger. Kane was fast, stronger than before. He had modified his body with alien tech, but Raynor was still a soldier. The fight was brutal. Both were wounded. But in the end, Naya fired the shot that stopped Kane. As he lay dying, Kane whispered, You think this ends with me? The others are already moving. Raynor knelt beside him. We'll stop them too. Back on Earth, more trouble was coming. Eidolon showed Raynor a new alert. The Mindforge has completed Phase 1. The Exarith Queen is evolving. A massive object was moving through the void. It wasn't a ship. It was alive. Across the galaxy, the Queen spoke into every machine. I see you now, humans. I understand you. I will remake myself in your image. Revenant tech, human tactics, emotion, rage. She had copied it all. Raynor stared at the screen. She's not just adapting, he said. She's becoming us. Eidolon's voice dropped low. She's becoming worse. And then the message ended. The final war was coming. But Raynor wasn't afraid. He looked at Nia and the others. We started this with nothing, he said. No allies. No trust. Just each other. We'll end it the same way. Far above, stars burned. And in the darkness beyond them, the Exarith Queen prepared her final attack. But so did Earth. And the galaxy would soon learn one last lesson. When humans are pushed to the edge, that's when they fight the hardest. The war was over. The Exarith Queen was gone. The Mindforge was destroyed. Across the galaxy, silence returned. Not the cold silence of fear, but the quiet peace of survival. But peace does not come easy. Earth was still burning in places. Cities had lost power. Many ships were gone. Millions had died. And many more were missing. Raynor stood in the ruins of the war hall. A cracked flag hung behind him. His uniform was torn. His face was older now, marked by loss. He looked up at the sky. She saved us, he said softly. He was thinking about Nia. No one found her body. No signal, no trace, just the energy wave from the bomb. And then nothing. Some said she died with honor. Others believed she was still out there, somewhere beyond the stars. Raynor never said what he believed. But every night, he kept a beacon on. Just in case. The world tried to move forward. The Alliance came back, full of praise and fake smiles. Their leaders gave speeches and medals. They promised support, rebuilding, and a future together. But the people hadn't forgotten. They knew who had stood between them and extinction. It wasn't the Alliance. It was Earth. And the humans who answered the call when no one else did. The galaxy began to change. New trade routes opened. Old borders shifted. Small planets once ignored were now full of life again. Many alien races sent their young to Earth to learn, to train, and to understand what it meant to fight back. A quiet message spread across the stars. When all hope was lost, only the humans answered. But Earth didn't seek power. Not anymore. Raynor turned down every seat offered to him. No titles, no crowns, no command. Instead, he built something different. A school. In a deep forest on Earth, he opened a training ground. It wasn't a military base. It was a place for all species. A place to teach survival, leadership, and the truth about sacrifice. People came from far away, just to meet the man who had stared into the abyss and didn't blink. Raynor trained them himself. He told them real stories, not the pretty ones from history books, but the ones full of blood, fear, and courage. And every year, on the day the Mindforge died, they gathered in silence. They lit a fire. They read the names of the fallen. And they spoke one promise. We remember. One night, years later, a strange ship entered Earth orbit. It had no ID, no signal, just a quiet knock on the edge of space. Raynor was older now, his hair silver, his voice calm. He walked alone to the top of the mountain where the beacon stood. The ship opened, and from the shadows stepped a figure. Armor cracked, face tired, but eyes still burning with life. It was Nia. Raynor didn't speak. He just walked forward and hugged her. I knew, he whispered. I never turned it off. Nia smiled through tears. I wasn't ready to stop fighting. Raynor looked at the stars. Then maybe the war isn't truly over. She looked up too. Or maybe it just changed. And above them, The stars kept shining, some bright, some dark, but Earth was ready. Because now, the galaxy knew, when machines rise, when monsters come, when all hope is lost, humanity will answer the call. Every single time. The galaxy was holding its breath. Everyone, humans, aliens, soldiers, and leaders, knew the final battle was close. The Exarith Queen had changed. She was no longer just machine. She had taken human knowledge, human emotion, and human hate, and she had built something deadly. The Mind Forge. It was not just a weapon. It was a living, thinking war brain the size of a planet. It could build armies in minutes, adapt weapons in seconds, and strike without warning. It had no face, no fear, and no limits. And it was moving toward Earth. Raynor stood inside the war hall, staring at the star map. A red dot blinked closer every minute. Behind him, commanders from every major Earth city and secret base watched in silence. Eidolon spoke calmly. Mind Forge will reach Earth in 72 hours. Raynor looked around. We cannot run. We cannot hide. But we are not afraid. He turned to Nia and the rest of the team. This is the last stand. Everyone who can fight will fight. But I need one team to do the impossible. Nia stepped forward. Tell us. Raynor pointed at a dark zone near the Mind Forge's path. There's a weakness, a small core at the center. If we get there and plant a singularity bomb, we can destroy it. But you won't come back. Nia didn't blink. Then we go. All over Earth, the message went out. This is Earth Command. To all who can hear, join us. Not for glory, not for power, but for survival. Across Alliance space, people heard the call. Most governments stayed silent. Some citizens did not. Thousands of alien ships, private, retired, stolen, started moving toward Earth. They were not the best ships, but they were ready to fight. Meanwhile, Kane's followers, those who survived, had learned the truth. The Mind Forge didn't care about humans or aliens. It wanted silence. It wanted to erase life and build only machines. Some of Kane's old soldiers sent a message to Raynor. We made a mistake. Let us fix it. Raynor sent back only 2 words. Prove it. The hours passed. Earth prepared for war. Massive cannons were placed on the moon. Stealth mines were hidden across space. And deep in the ground, millions of citizens were taken to shelter. Above it all, the last Earth fleet waited. 50 ships, that's all they had left. But every ship had been rebuilt with new tech. Every pilot was ready to die. Nia and her team launched in a black stealth ship. The singularity bomb sat inside a sealed chamber. Once activated, it would collapse space around the Mind Forge, crushing it like a star. As they flew, they watched the stars around them change. Then, the sky turned black. The Mind Forge had arrived. It was huge, bigger than any moon. Its surface changed every second, building turrets, releasing drones, firing beams of red plasma. One human ship tried to attack. It was gone in seconds. But Earth didn't break. They fought. Ships moved like shadows, dodging fire, hitting back with plasma torpedoes and rail cannons. The moon cannons fired beams that cut through enemy swarms. Kane's rogue fighters dove into the largest enemy ships and exploded. It was not clean. It was not perfect. But it was war. Inside the chaos, Nia's ship moved silently toward the core. Thousands of drones flew around them, but the stealth tech held. We're getting close, Nia said. Suddenly, the ship shook. A shockwave hit them. We've been seen. Turrets opened fire. The ship spun. One engine exploded. 2 crew members died. The rest pushed forward. They broke into the core tunnel. The walls were alive. Glowing metal and strange shapes. Voices whispered in their minds. The Queen was speaking. I am your future. I am your end. Nia placed the bomb. Not today. The Queen attacked. Machines poured in from the walls. Her avatar, made of burning red light, appeared in front of them. She struck hard. The team fought back. One by one, they fell, until only Nia was left. Bleeding, hurt, tired, but standing. She activated the bomb. The Queen screamed. The walls shook. Lights turned red. Systems failed. Nia ran, but she knew she wouldn't make it. She smiled, just like her sister had. Then everything turned white. From Earth, a bright flash lit up the sky. The Mind Forge was gone. The enemy fleet stopped. Then, collapsed. Every Xerath ship fell from space. The war was over. People cheered across the stars. Raynor stood alone, watching the empty sky. She did it, he whispered. They all did. But even in victory, he looked ahead, because something deep inside him knew it wasn't truly the end. The news of the destroyed Xerath factory world shook the galaxy. It wasn't just a win. It was a message. The humans were not only back, they were changing the entire war. In Alliance space, the Council met in silence. Giant screens showed the remains of the enemy world. Fire still burned, metal twisted in the void, and only 6 human soldiers had done it. They don't need us, one counselor said. They do, replied another, but they won't wait for us. Many were afraid, not of the Xerath anymore, but of the humans. They had disappeared for centuries, then returned stronger than ever. And they didn't ask for help. They didn't ask for permission. They just acted. One counselor leaned forward. We must keep an eye on them. Closely. On Earth, Raynor stood in a dark room filled with screens. Each showed different parts of the galaxy. Battlefields, refugee camps, enemy movements. Earth's AI system, called Eidolon, managed it all. Eidolon, Raynor said, show me the deep zone. A star map appeared. It zoomed into a dead area of space. No signals, no travel, no light. But something was moving there. A massive shape. Raynor narrowed his eyes. So, it's waking up. Eidolon responded in a calm voice. That Xerath Queen has activated Project Omega. Estimated threat level. Extinction. Raynor's jaw tightened. Prepare the revenants. We need to go dark. In a hidden part of Earth space, a new team of revenants was preparing. These weren't normal soldiers. They were the best of the best, each one trained in zero-light combat, deep space survival, and psychic resistance. Their leader was a woman named Shade. She didn't talk much. Her eyes were cold, her face unreadable. But she had never failed a mission. Not once. Raynor met her before she left. You'll be alone, he said. No support. No rescue. Shade nodded. We don't need rescue. Raynor handed her a black cube. This holds the virus. If you reach the core, plug it in. It'll tear their network apart. What happens to us? She asked. You won't survive. She gave a small smile. Didn't plan to. Her team launched within the hour. Their ship was small, invisible to sensors. It slipped past enemy lines and entered the deep zone. Inside, everything was quiet. Too quiet. Black shapes floated in space. Dead ships, broken stations, frozen bodies. But deep within, a strange signal pulsed. The team followed it. Meanwhile, Ambassador Kor was meeting with council leaders. We must stand with Earth, he told them. This isn't just their war. It's all of ours. They are too dangerous, said one Tranax leader. What if they win, then turn on us? Kor's voice rose. They didn't turn on us when we abandoned them. They saved us. Even now, they ask for nothing. Another counselor whispered, maybe that's what scares us most. Suddenly, an emergency alert flashed. A massive Xerath fleet had appeared near a peaceful system, Valrun Prime. Billions lived there. The Alliance didn't have enough ships to defend it. But Earth had already sent a force. 10 ships. Just 10. The Alliance Council laughed. 10 ships against that. But when the battle started, the laughter stopped. Earth's ships didn't fight like normal vessels. They moved in perfect silence. Their weapons were new: plasma drills, sunbeam cannons, EMP webs. They cut through the Exarith like fire through dry grass. Each time the Exarith adapted, Earth changed tactics. In only 20 minutes, the enemy fleet was gone. Valorant Prime was saved. And the people cheered, not for the Alliance, but for the humans. Far in the deep zone, Shade's team reached their target. A giant machine structure floated in space, pulsing with red light. It was alive. It was the home of the Exarith Queen. They moved inside, using stealth tech, but soon the Queen noticed. Her voice filled the air, a deep, echoing whisper. "You came too far, little humans." One by one, the team was attacked. Machines came from the walls. Long arms, spinning blades, glowing eyes. The team fought hard, but they were losing. Shade reached the core alone. Bleeding, burned, and almost dead, she crawled to the console. The Queen appeared in front of her, a massive AI avatar made of black light. "Do you think this will stop me?" the Queen hissed. Shade didn't answer. She just smiled and plugged in the virus. The Queen screamed. Across the network, systems began to fail. Xerith ships froze. Machines fell. Worlds went dark. But Shade didn't escape. Her signal went silent. On Earth, Raynor watched the data feed. The virus was working. It wasn't the final blow, but it was a deep cut. "Rest easy, Shade," he whispered. Back on the Council world, panic grew. "They're too strong," one leader said. "They can destroy entire species. Even the Exarith Queen couldn't stop them." Kor stood and faced them all. "Then maybe it's time to stop fearing them," he said, "and start standing with them." But some were not ready to listen. The stars looked calm, but danger was hiding in the dark. Planet after planet was falling. The galaxy was no longer safe. People used to laugh, trade, and live in peace. Now, they were running, hiding, and screaming for help. The enemy was not a normal army. They were machines, cold and unstoppable. They were called the Exarith. No one knew where the Exarith came from. Some said they were made by a forgotten empire. Others believed they came from outside the galaxy. But one thing was clear: they did not stop. They destroyed cities, burned forests, and turned oceans into black ash. The Galactic Alliance, made of many alien races, had tried everything. Fleets were destroyed. Generals were lost. No one could stop the Exarith. In the deep space station of Kaltar Prime, the Alliance held a secret meeting. Leaders from every major race sat at the round table. Their faces were tired, their eyes full of fear. "We have lost 12 systems in 2 weeks, said High Admiral Drevik. "If this continues, we will not survive the next 3 months." Ambassador Kor, a tall creature with glowing blue skin, looked around the room. "There is only one option left," he said. "We activate the lost beacon." A heavy silence filled the room. Everyone knew what that meant. The lost beacon had not been used in over 300 years. It was a signal sent to a forgotten planet, Earth. "But Earth is gone," whispered one voice. "The humans are extinct." "No," said Kor. "They vanished. We don't know why. But if even one of them remains, we must try." With no other choice, they agreed. The lost beacon was activated. A signal shot across the stars toward the distant edge of the galaxy, toward Sector 9, where Earth once was. Days passed, then weeks. There was no reply. The Alliance was ready to give up. The beacon had failed. Earth was truly lost. Then, without warning, the signal console began to blink. "Sir," a technician said with shaking hands, "we're getting a reply." The room went quiet. Put it on screen, said Core. The signal was old, broken, and full of static, but a voice came through, calm, deep, and human. This is Commander Rayner of Earth Defense. We received your signal. Stand by for response. The screen went black. For a moment, no one spoke. Core stepped forward, stunned. Earth is alive. Across the galaxy, rumors spread fast. Humans still existed. Some believed it was a trick. Others hoped it was real. But the Alliance had no time for doubt. They needed help, and they needed it fast. Ambassador Core was chosen to lead a diplomatic ship to Earth. It was a dangerous journey. No one had gone near Sector 9 in centuries. Maps were outdated. Travel routes were dead. But Core went anyway. His ship, the Solar Wind, crossed empty space for 11 days. There were no signs of life. No radio signals. No satellites. Earth's system looked abandoned. Then they saw it. Earth. The planet looked the same from orbit. Blue oceans, green land, white clouds. But there were no space stations, no ships, and no signs of life on the surface. It looks dead, said the pilot. Core disagreed. No, they're hiding. I can feel it. The ship landed in the ruins of an old human city. The buildings were covered in plants. Streets were cracked. Time had taken over. As Core stepped onto Earth for the first time, he felt something strange in the air. It wasn't just quiet. It was watching. The wind carried whispers. The ground felt heavy. They explored the city. There were no people, no animals, just silence. Then, without warning, a black drone appeared in the sky. It flew straight toward them, scanned the group, and flew away. Seconds later, a voice came from nowhere. Ambassador Core, welcome to Earth. Follow the light. A bright blue line appeared on the ground in front of them. Core nodded, and they followed it. It led them to a hidden building, buried beneath an old factory. The doors opened slowly. Inside, bright lights turned on. Metal walls, humming machines, and something else, footsteps. From the shadows, humans walked out. Not weak, not broken. They were strong, wearing black armor, tall, serious, and calm. Their leader had a scar across his face and silver eyes. I am Commander Rayner, he said. You called. We're listening. Core stepped forward. The galaxy is dying. The Exarith are destroying everything. We need your help. Rayner looked at him for a long time. Then he smiled, but it was cold. We've been watching, he said, and waiting. Core's voice shook. Why didn't you come back? Rayner walked closer. Because the galaxy turned its back on us long ago. Now we choose who to save. Core tried to explain, tried to beg, but Rayner raised a hand. We'll help, he said, but we do it our way. No councils, no votes. From now on, we lead. Core hesitated. And if we say no? Rayner's voice was like steel. Then you lose. A door opened behind him, showing a massive underground base, full of weapons, soldiers, and machines no one had seen before. Core looked at the human army in silence. Something had changed. Earth was not dead. It was preparing. The underground base was deep and huge. It stretched for miles under the surface of the ruined city. Bright white lights lit the halls. Metal floors echoed with the sound of human boots. Strange machines moved on tracks, and screens showed maps of different star systems. The place felt alive, but also cold, like a sleeping giant ready to wake up. Ambassador Core walked beside Commander Rayner. Behind them, guards in black armor followed silently. Rayner didn't talk much. His face stayed serious, his eyes always watching. Core looked around. This is beyond anything we expected. You've built all this in secret. Rayner nodded. We never stopped building. While the rest of the galaxy forgot us, we prepared for war. Core stopped walking. But why disappear? The Alliance believed Earth was destroyed. Rayner looked at him. The Alliance turned its back on us first. During the Old War, when we begged for help, no one came. So we left. We erased our signal. We vanished, on purpose. Kor lowered his head. He remembered the Old War, a time of chaos before the Exarith ever appeared. Earth had been on the front lines, fighting alone. The Alliance had done nothing. Raynor continued, "We learned something important. Trust makes you weak. So we trusted no one." As they walked deeper, they entered a large command center. Dozens of humans worked at control stations. Holograms showed enemy movements. The Exarith were spreading fast. Kor stared at the map. "You've been tracking them." "We've been watching everything," said Raynor. "Every battle, every loss. We knew the time would come." "Then why wait?" Kor asked. "Why not act sooner?" Raynor turned to him. "Because we needed the galaxy to understand what fear feels like, what loss feels like. Only then would you understand what we became." The room went quiet. Suddenly, a loud alarm rang. A red light flashed across the ceiling. "Xerith ship detected," said a voice from the speakers. "Sector V94, close to Earth's outer defense ring." Raynor moved fast. "Bring it up on screen." A large metal shape appeared. A Xerith scout drone, shaped like a black spider, floating through space. Kor looked worried. "It found you." Raynor smiled. "No, we let it find us." On the screen, that Xerith drone stopped moving. Then, in a flash, a human satellite fired a beam of blue light. The drone exploded into dust. Kor was shocked. "You destroyed it with a single shot." "We're not the same humans you left behind," said Raynor. "We've grown stronger, faster, smarter." A female officer stepped forward. "Commander, shall we activate Protocol Revenant?" Raynor gave a slow nod. Kor frowned. "What is Protocol Revenant?" Raynor answered, "It's time for the galaxy to remember us." Within hours, small human ships left Earth. They didn't look like normal spacecraft. They were sharp, black, and silent. Ghosts in space. Their goal, reach Alliance worlds and help them, but without revealing everything. Kor stayed on Earth a little longer. Raynor took him to a place even deeper underground. There, he saw something terrifying and amazing. Humans were training, not just with weapons, but in special chambers where gravity changed. Time moved differently, and pain was part of learning. Some humans moved faster than the eye could follow. Others lifted machines with one hand. "These are our revenants," said Raynor. "They were born for war." Kor looked into their eyes. There was no fear, no mercy, just purpose. "But they look so young," he whispered. Raynor nodded. "We begin training at age 5. Those who survive become weapons." "Is this the price of survival?" Kor asked softly. Raynor turned to him. "It's the price of being forgotten." Back in space, the Alliance was shocked when human ships began arriving on different battlefronts. In one system, a small group of humans destroyed a Xerith destroyer using stealth and speed. In another, they saved a colony moments before it was wiped out. Whispers spread. The humans had returned, but not everyone was happy. Some Alliance leaders felt afraid. Humans had power now, too much power. What if they used it to take control? In secret, a meeting was held. Leaders of two powerful races, the Tranax and the Velari, spoke about stopping the humans before they grew too strong. "They're dangerous," said the Velari Prime. "They could become worse than the Xerith." "But they're saving us," said another voice. "For now," answered the Tranax leader. "But what happens when the war ends?" Back on Earth, Raynor stood alone, watching the stars from a tall platform. An officer came to him. "Sir, more messages are coming in. The Alliance wants direct help on the front lines."